They call themselves incels, or involuntary celibates. Young men depressed by their inability to get a girlfriend. In today's social media culture, many turn to pornography and violent video games to pacify their frustration. So much time online takes them deep into a toxic mix of loneliness and isolation.
The inward focus, it can happen quickly.
Jared Reed spends lots of time counseling young men.
We're not talking about a fun thing to do with somebody physically sitting next to you for a few minutes on a rainy afternoon. We're talking about, weeks poured into an immersive environment.
Easy access to pornography is another major problem.
Of the men I have counseled over the past 5 years, I cannot recall one for whom pornography has not been a struggle.
These twisted images of human intimacy further damage their chances of forming healthy relationships. Internet chat rooms can lead to a dark subculture with deadly consequences. Former FBI agent Mark Lundgren tracks the rise of this phenomenon.
So what we're seeing is sort of a movement that's developing with mostly white, younger men who have sort of descended into a dark place on the internet, sort of an echo chamber, if you will, where what's reverberating in those places is an ideology called incels or incelibates. They're involuntarily celibate men. They look at people that have normal relationships and the women that refuse to partner with them, and they don't think anything's going to change in the world. They're extremely nihilistic. They feel that society needs to be punished. And we're starting to see this movement, rise up much more significantly than we have in the past.
The FBI has identified at least 4 major attacks and 45 deaths attributed to the incel movement. And now they're worried about a movie coming out soon called The Joker that portrays one of these type of people.
He don't listen to you. He just asks the same questions every week. How's your job? Are you having any negative thoughts? All I have are negative thoughts.
The threat centered around the release of this movie is serious enough that the U.S. military recently cautioned its troops on going to see it.
Some of the incel community have started looking at it as sort of a rally cry because they look at the Joker as a sympathetic symbol in their community.
Kaylin and Austin both struggled with video game and porn addiction.
Video games definitely makes you more reclusive. Just in its nature, it made me less sociable. With pornography, I'd say looking back, it gave me unbelievably high expectations.
It's all violence. And for me, a lot of those video games, they make you angry. And, you might play for a couple hours and, maybe you don't win and you leave mad, and it just kind of sets the tone for the rest of the day and you're just kind of mad.
Without a community surrounding us, we can go so deep into the internet, so isolated, so without hope and so dark, and that, I think, can be absolutely a tool of strategic evil when it's not checked.
That's why these men agree the church has a strategic role to play in helping safeguard our communities.
The real change seems to happen when they're ready to get radical about dealing with this sin, putting it to death. Men who make the changes, who start to experience victory in this area, it's a wonderful snowball.
I gave my life to Christ. Once I was filled with the Holy Spirit, I couldn't do any of those things anymore. He completely purged me of my pornography addiction, of my alcohol addiction. I completely lost interest in all my video games.
The church has always been the answer. When we reach out in love and we do what we do best, which is to engage people, meet them right where they are, and then bring them out of the darkness and the loneliness and the lack of hope that they have. That's the best thing that the church can do. But we have to go in with our eyes wide open. Many people in this community are suffering from a mental illness, and so I think the most important thing the church can do is when they recognize somebody is going down that pathway, that they get them some professional help.
I'm Chuck Holton for CBN News.